Okay, it is 8:32 and today is Monday, January the 11th, 2021. And welcome to week number two of contemporary issues in criminal justice. And I'm Professor Richard Wright. And, I am going to be here, close to the next hour, maybe not even that long, discussing issues that are concerned or involved here. I'm all the lectures I do this week, I'm going to open them up by taking at least a few minutes to make a comment. Uh, each of us are involved with criminal justice. It's been my life as a lawyer, as a police officer, paralegal, and um, also an investigator. And I have been involved in a lot of civil rights type stuff. My degree is in political science. I remember studying all forms of government across the world and learning about Stalinism, learning about communism, and other forms, and recognizing that we have the best system of all the world. Unfortunately, because of the fact that if you have irresponsible people at the helm, um, it that threaten to destroy our democracy. It is a serious problem that each and every one of us. Um, I think that if you got the email, the college from Ann Leah, who's the acting president, uh, she shares this is ridiculous. And we as a school who pride ourselves on diversity, as we talk about that, as one of our transferable skills, it is very problematic what is going on in this country. And now I'm told that the FBI has uncovered that coming up a few days before the inauguration, that there's going to be insurrection, armed insurrection in the capitals of all 50 states. If that's not overthrow a government, I don't know what is. And then they're going back to D.C. They've put contracts out on the vice president elect and the president elect, Speaker of the House. This is ridiculous. This is not the way that our country has to operate. Otherwise, we've reached a stage that we're as bad as Russia. And people talking about freedom, one nation under God. Don't as I told somebody, don't put God in this one. So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and so it is something that I'm paying close attention to. And some, yeah, yeah. I can't. I pay attention. I spend a lot of hours looking at it. My wife says, I says, no, that's my career. That's my life. And so I have made comments on Facebook. I have done Facebook live sessions about things like this. And this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And so that's why I teach, because I want people to operate on what we call facts, and not FAX, but FACTS. So very important. I know as a lawyer, I've been trained. But it's unfortunate. There are some people who are lawyers that are involved in this movement that uh, ignore that over politics. You can't change the letter of the law just because you have a political aspiration. That's kind of like, that's messed up in the head. So anyway, it's people like the ones that I communicate with, that I talk to and teach that I make my my impact. It's literally dangerous now to even be out and about. And then not to mention that the sad part about it, guys, the pandemic has not taken a back seat. The pandemic is on what they call remote control, automatic, and it continues to elevate in terms of numbers. And you know, even I don't know if you heard this or not. Uh, there's been at least one congressional person who contracted COVID from being hunkered down to protect themselves from this insurrection. Uh, and then there's going to be a whole lot more numbers because those people, I didn't see any masks, but the point of the matter is that, you know, so, but I never thought I'd live to see the day that I would see mass numbers of people trying to break onto the floor, and they literally almost got there. So, yep, yeah, you know, I know, yep, yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't have anybody I know directly. I know of people, you know. And then we had one idiot just got elected to Congress from Illinois, just got in, and she makes a statement that Hitler had one thing right. You're praising Hitler in this country? Mm-mm, mm-mm. And then the last thing I'm going to say is this: is that the anti Defamation League, they have jumped in because they see what this is all about. You know, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just ludicrous. And so we got a lot, as they say, it's almost like a major hurricane or tornado has overcome this country and taken over the minds of some people. And it's unfortunately people who have influence over other individuals at all. There is no doubt about it, and I'm in a majority now, that this man has got to get out of office sooner than later. And he must never have the opportunity to run for office again. Never. On the federal level, and that's what impeachment will do. So anyway, let's get to the topics of the week. I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. And I hope everybody's doing well out there because stuff like this can take a toll on the mental state of people. It really can. It really can. So now we're in week number 2, and we have after this um, 5 more lectures. Well, week 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll have 4 more lectures after this week, and then 3 of them will be on Monday, and 1 will be on that Thursday in February because of the ending of the course. Here's the recorded from week 1. Recording from week 2 will be here. I will come back to the announcement in just a minute. All right, let's look at the course calendar. And you see how quickly we are moving here. We are at this point here where the topic this week is criminal behavior theories. And so we're going to talk about those things. And then here's your live lecture for today, your initial post, Green River Killer, and then your reply post due Saturday. So initial post due Tuesday, reply post due Saturday, your written assignment due Sunday the 17th. Crime theories, we'll talk about that more in detail in a minute. And then the other thing that's due in this class is very simply your live classroom lecture phrase. Okay. And then you can see, moving right along, that if you look at February, the course ends on the 9th. That is why we have 2 lectures this week, the 5th and the 6th lecture, okay, for the 4th. So the class ends on the 9th, not the 10th, not the 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th. I say this over and over and over because inevitably, and you've been in several of my classes, trust me, there have been students who always want to submit stuff after midnight, and there's nothing I can do for them unless they have gone through the proper channels and done what they needed to do prior to. And I already addressed that during week 1. So you see how quickly, so the course, and show you how things end. Term 1 ends on the 9th, and you don't see this, but on the next day, Wednesday, term 2 starts. Yeah, so it's that fast. All right. So you gotta stay on top of these things. All right. It's a pretty fast pace. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna close that. I'm trying to close out course tools. There we go. All right. Now let's go back to the course home page so we can see the announcement. So our announcement for this week, again, reminding those of you who don't remember, there is no textbook in this course. So in this week, module 2, criminal behavior theories, is the topic. Classical and positive theories on crime, rational choice and routine activity theory, and crime control methods. Those are things that you can review, and I'll mention very briefly today. And then your discussion assignment, Green River Killer. I'll talk a little bit about that. And then your written assignment is crime theories. Again, you know my motto, you know what that's all about. Finish strong. That's what I want you to do. Continue to stay strong. Keep up with what you have to do. So now let's get into the week for today. So here's the assignment. Crime theories. So you have a fact pattern that's given, and this calls for a not 1 page, not 2 page, not 2.5 page, not 2 3/4 pages, but 3 page paper. Okay, and you're going to deal with each of these issues. So it says, in a 3 page paper, discuss how you'd explain the boy's criminal action according to the theories. Biological explanation, psychological explanation, social structure theory, and social process theory, which you will find in the materials that are in the module. Then explain which theory you believe fits best and why. Remember, APA formatted. I am not going to repeat what that is because you already should know, but it tells you a little bit here, in-text citations and a reference page. But APA formatted, you know what text letters to use, and you know also that it should be double spaced. Okay, so there's no doubt. And notice it makes it clear that I say all the time. It says in-text citation and a reference page. And then here are some of the sources that can help you. Here's one, and here's one. So that's what you want to take a look at to help you out to get this assignment done, and then APA, you know how that works. And then if you and then it tells you if you need help with research, a librarian, but most of you are vets at this time and understand that. And remember, your document must be, not should be, must be a Word document. So now let's look at the rubric. So it's due Sunday for 50 points. Now, which column did I say that you should focus on? Far right, or the fourth one, the first, second, or third one? Yeah, that's the fourth one. So this is the first one, second one, third one. And as I say, think about, does it make sense what I said when I say act as if these other three are not even there? Act as if they're not there, because when you're in the fourth one, you are now getting the requirements necessary to satisfy the requirements of the written assignment. That's right. You got that right. You know that already. I don't encourage C or D students. I like A or B students. And then usually A or B students are here or here. But you know what? You can still end up with a B being here if you don't satisfy everything in points. And you could slip into a C if you're over here. So why are you going to waste your time trying to do something less? Let me say this. When you graduate from school, you want to read what your diploma says. And most diplomas say that you satisfied the requirements of the school to obtain an education. The key thing and this was on my law degree, and that I have successfully satisfied the requirements to earn a Juris Doctor. That means that I know what I'm talking about, and my aim is always for mastery. And guess what? If you are hiring someone and you're the employer, who are you going to hire? The one from emerging or mastery? That's right. So what you want to do is you want to develop a way of life. And so, you know, somebody said, well, man, why, Professor, why did they put those other ones in? They put them in there for the C and D students. They put them in there for the F students. This is definitely an F column here. This can be a CD column. This could be a B, C column. But this is going to be a or B at worst column if you satisfy these. So here we go. It tells you for the biological explanation. Remember, you had the 4 theories. Clear and comprehensive discussion of this explanation. And what does that mean? Citations to support your statements. Psychological explanation, same thing. Social structure theory, same thing. Social process, same thing. Best fits the situation. Clear and comprehensive theories. And remember what it says. I have students that say, well, why they didn't say in the rubric that it was APA. Come on, people. Let's get on board here. At the beginning of the course, on the course homepage, and there's students that say, oh, I tried to follow the course homepage. No. No, that's some basic stuff. That's like teaching your ABCs. In order to be able to spell and put things proper in order alphabetically, you have to know your ABCs. But that's not the end of the assignment. The assignment is writing words and sentences and paragraphs. And that's kind of like how this works. And so I tell people, I says, come on, stop looking for an excuse or a way out. You want to get a total of the exact number of points that it requires. And that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 points. That's what you want to get. 50 points, not a grade of 50. 50 points equal 100. Okay? Because it's 20%. Okay. So imagine if you didn't do one of this one, then guess what? You all of a sudden drop down to 20, 40, 60, 80. And you're heading towards B. Then if you don't do two of them, then you definitely got a C grade. So you see how you can you got to satisfy all of the requirements. Get into that habit. It will bode well for you in your future success. All right. I'm where I am today because I stayed in this column. I wasn't always perfect, but my goal was always to shoot for the best. I used to be a bowler. When I threw my ball, there's 2 gutters on the side and 1 floor in the middle. I did not aim for the gutter. I aimed to try to knock all 10 down. And sometimes I only knocked down 1. But when I didn't knock down any, that was because it was in the gutter. The point of the matter is, the better I hit those pins, the more fell. And there's nothing like when you hit that head pin and that domino effect, and it's like an explosion. Woo, boy! You do your pump, your fist pumps, and and stuff like that. So anyway, the point, you get what I'm saying. All right. So that's that assignment. Any questions about it? All right. It's pretty clear. So, why? Wait a minute. Why do we have to do a 3-page paper? You're on your way to graduation, okay? Come on. Give me a break. Anyway. So, as they say, stop whining. Get on with it, All right. So anyway, let's go back to the next assignment, which is the Green River Killer. Now, whenever I see this, I think about Green River. There's a drink called Green River that I used to drink it a lot, but it's too flat, so I don't drink it anymore. But there's an article about the myths and realities of what serial killers and how serial killers operate. And there's an example that this is all about a guy named Gary Ridgway, who they call the Green River Killer, and then you'll be able to read about it. So in your initial post and reply post, a minimum of 250 words in paragraphs that include a topic sentence, several sentence structures, open and closing sentence, write in your own words. But use in-text citations as needed and references at the end. Now, pay attention to what I'm about to say. I am so nice to my students. My policy is I don't require those, but I would like to see them. And it's in your best interest to get into the habit, even if, okay, well, you're not going to just satisfy my requirements. I didn't just usually try to satisfy the requirements of my assignment. I would always be known as, some people call me the overachiever. Well, you know who those people were? Those were people who didn't become very successful. And that's what they called me, and so you just do what you got to do ethically and professionally to get the job done. And then respond to a peer's post with your own information. Again, I want to say, for a reason, and I'm not going to elaborate on it, but some of you understand what I'm saying. Your post should not be copying somebody else's post. Your post, that's plagiarism. That is plagiarism. And you get dinged for that. I already had to deal with that, okay? So come on, people. You're smarter than that. I should set it as we had and I haven't done it, but some people can make me if I see it. I don't see too many of these instances where you have to post first. When we have the setting set for post first, you'll look at discussion posts and you won't see any posts until you submit your post. Then you'll have access to it. And if I see it happen again, I'm going to that method. And I did used to do it, but I stopped doing it. Okay, so this is your work. Again, if you remember what we talked about the first week, last week, about the ethical aspects of it, and you guys in this class have been in classes with me long enough to know my beliefs and feelings and the importance of ethical principles. Okay, so enough on that. So respond to a peer's post. If you agree with their post, include additional evidence that supports your position as well. All right. So that's the discussion post. And then, they'll do tonight, Tuesday night, and then Saturday, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then your live classroom phrase, make sure you put it in the Dropbox, and you'll get your points for that. Any questions about any of the assignments? Okay, so let's dive into this topic here. We got roughly about a half an hour to go. We may or may not use all of that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the classical and positive theories on crime, rational choice and routine theory, and then crime control methods. So I taught ethics in criminal justice, and we talked about these theories in those classes. And so we come to the point that there are two major reasons that people commit crimes. One is the classical theory, and that is that people commit crimes because they choose to, and they make a rational choice based on their free will to commit a crime. Okay. The other is the positive theory, which states that criminal behavior is not a choice, but rather a result of other causes in someone's life, such as poverty. Now, which do you think is the most prevalent for why people commit crimes? Then I'll tell you which one is mine. Okay. I say this to you, that it's not one or the other. It is actually a mixture. However, if you're forced to pick one or the other, and I'll express my position. I do not think that most people in our present time, I'm talking about our present time, commit crime because they choose to make a rational choice based on their free will. No, because of issues like, do you think individuals who are junkies operate under the classical theory or the positive theory? Definitely. And there is a tremendous portion of our crime that takes place as a result of things in their lives. Now, people also will commit crimes, as it says, for poverty, rather than to work hard, get a job to get something. They will rather you work hard and get it, and then they do it, they take it. That's what, like, for example, carjackings or robberies are often about. But in this day and time, like I said again, I submit to you that based on what I have discovered in my career of many years, going way back to when I was a 19-year-old, when I started into this stuff, that I have come to the conclusion that most people are affected by a result other than choice. In other words, like for example, a person, okay, now a burglar commits a crime because burglary is a crime. But do they want to commit violent offenses? Is that their goal? No, otherwise they'd be robbers. Okay. And remember, guys, because you've been in my classes, that robbery involves force. Okay. Or if they break in the house to commit, break in and they know people are there, that could be strong armed. Or not strong arm, I'm sorry, but that could be, shoot, come on, help me. I know the term. It's not burglary, it is home invasion. Thank you. Home invasion. And that is the case there. So we have to be very, very careful to understand that there are people, and then there are people who have gone through poverty. I have, to get to where I have. You've heard my story. I went through challenges. I didn't resort to crime. I just pushed harder. So, so these are just two of the ways. And if you pay attention to what this says about, they spend a lot of time talking about the positives, sociological issues, psychological issues, are determinants of criminal behavior. Now, you don't necessarily become a criminal because you come out of a bad home, or because I came out of that. Okay, so people say, "Oh yeah, but you're the rare number." I disagree with that. There are more people that you really know who had a bad situation and declared that they would rise above that and that they wouldn't let that be the excuse. Like for example, I hear people say, "Oh, I would have been better if my dad was in my life." Well, you heard me tell my story. My dad was taken when I was 7. And the male models that lived with me were pretty bad after that. But I have grown up to, I believe, be a pretty good role model for my children and a dad. Yeah, I've had divorces, but who in this country has not? Well, people that never got married, and a small number who married a long time ago. But the point of the matter is that doesn't mean that you're a bad parent because you get divorced. Okay, it's better to divorce than to kill somebody to get them out of your life. The point of the matter is you don't divorce your children. I saw something on Facebook. I didn't look at it all the way, where a kid, and I've seen this on TV, and I don't watch those court cases on TV where a child was suing their parent. You know what? You don't bite the hand that feeds you or fed you. Okay? You really don't do that. And then even if you had a trifling parent, they might have reasons why they were like that that has to do with who they became based on their upbringing and things like that. So anyway, the bottom line is that positives kind of like have a better grip on individuals who commit crime. And so that is why I reached the stage in my life of teaching that individuals should be given a second chance if possible, if possible. Now, and therefore I try to believe in rehabilitation probably for 95% of the people. And that, as you know, my theory in terms of people being incarcerated and dealing with corrections is to lean toward rehabilitation. Well, that's the direction that even law enforcement's going in. If you took my drugs and crime course with deflection, that's also the direction that we are realizing that it is cheaper to educate than to incarcerate and those kinds of things. So anyway, positives, positivists, those people are the ones who have a better grip. It says the focus of the classical theory was to legalize the justice system and make it fair to everyone. To accomplish this, and this is Beccaria wrote on Crime and Punishment, where the first glimpse of criminal laws or statutes because of the punishment, and basically it was control, and also to keep civil, I should say. And then when the crime was arbitrary, cruel, and unusual, it was Beccaria who brought about the idea that the punishment must occur soon after the crime. And so, which kind of makes sense, because then the person might forget what they did or they might have thought they got by. And then positive theories, back to, attempt to explain the psychological, biological, and social aspects of crime. For example, a person being raised in a bad environment, as I said, neighborhood, or school. But again, that doesn't cover everyone, as yours truly is part of that group. Everybody doesn't end up going in that route. But it is definitely the theory that fits for individuals who are dealing in drugs. So the psychological aspects of it is the state of the mind, the mental process that it says that impacts individual propensities for violence, antisocial behavior, and crime. Psychologists are interested in the association between learning, intelligence, personality, and aggressive behavior. I have a daughter who's a clinical psychologist in criminal, and she works at Cook County Jail, and she deals with the situation on a psychological basis. And so if you are a victim, like for example, if you just say if you've been sexually assaulted, you could end up becoming a person who assaults others. If you've been neglected or either witnessed violence in the home, I told you again, yes, you know I know about that one, but it didn't make me violent. But look at what Freud says, and I remember this extremely well. Woo, boy, from '69 in Introduction to Psychology. He says that criminality is a result of psychological conflict, that negative early childhood experiences increase the likelihood of criminality. Man, I remember learning that when I first started college, and my eyebrows went up like, that ain't gonna happen to me. Now that was, remember, I was just in my first semester in college. That was in September or August of '69, before many of you guys were born. All of you guys were born. And then criminal personalities often include low intelligence. Don't tell me about, you know what? I don't like IQ tests. because of the fact that intelligence quotient is what it stands for, is actually a way that turns out to be discriminatory in many forms or fashions. And then lack of empathy for other people. The criminal personality assumes that criminals have different thinking patterns from non-criminal personalities. Um, I'm going to use the president as an example, and the reason why I'm going to use him as an example is because I've heard his niece, Mary Trump. Have you heard Mary Trump? And if you, she has a book that she wrote about it. She is a clinical psychologist. Do you know who I'm talking about? Oh, she's on. Well, I watch CNN a lot. Google Mary Trump. She's the real niece. And here's what she said, and I'm going to help you with this. Mary Trump said that the reason the president is the way he is because his dad raised him, that it is a sign of weakness to lose, and that you should eliminate or not accept losses at any cost. Did you hear me? When you reach that stage, and that's how he was raised. And so if you got to get the book. I haven't read the book, but I've read enough stuff on it, and I totally get it. And I had discussions with my daughter about it, and she said they have looked at the book and said it totally means. That's why this guy has some mental health issues that go back to what he was made into by his dad. His dad was like that. So psychological conflict from early childhood. And so check it out, and you will find it. I feel sorry for the man, but I don't like the man because of what he's doing. And um, it's you reach the stage where if you've listened to many people that describe him, they'll say he's only out for him. He's out for himself. And when you reach that stage, that's problematic. So anyway, check it out. Check it out. Okay. Some people don't like me saying that, but you know what? Some people don't like me saying today is Monday either. But guess what? I don't care if you like it or not. It's still Monday right here where I am. Is it Monday where you are? Okay. Unless you're in another country or something. But the point of the matter is that so we have to learn to accept some things that are real in life. Like, for example, when you lose, when you focus on loss, and it becomes that, the goal is to win, but win in a proper way. Okay. Don't use unethical things, because to me, that's not really a win. So anyway, click on this arrow to see a real life example. And then this gives a real life example, and I'm not going to go over it. And this talks about Gary Ridgway, the Green River killer. So you'll want to check that out. Okay. All right. So the psychological thing, it says take into consideration that example that we looked at briefly. You look at other theories that explain criminal behavior. Psychological theories give us a window into the personality, and the most famous of these theories is what they call psychodynamic theory. Freud is very well known for that. Explains that crime is a part of our unconscious mind. He tells us that every action we take is rooted in our unconscious. Well, again, that gets back to the point that I was talking about when you're dealing with the psychological theory of it. Do you remember studying psychology? Did you take psychology in any classes? Yeah, you had to. You remember Sigmund Freud? You remember when you first learned about Sigmund Freud? Yeah, 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 that's exactly right. Well, those kind of people fit that mode. So anyway, moving right along because we're running out of time here. The biological theory says that pretty much that you have genetics or things in your system uh, that um, cause you to be antisocial and that. I take a lot of issues with that. Okay. It's like people say you were born to be a certain way or think a certain way. Well, I'm not talking about disabilities. I'm talking about someone who, quote, does not have a quote identified disability. I'm talking about a quote individual who it's used to say that, well, they just can't help it because it's in their genes. That's the term that you hear said. And so I'm just gonna leave that for now. So you can consider that. And then the sociological uh, theory blames the environment. Oh, we already talked about that, such as education, unemployment, lack of access to resources, and so forth. And you know that is probably number two behind drugs, and, and I say that realistically is that there are individuals who don't have um, um, they've been raised up in not having, and then they don't have much education. That is why I always say education is wealth, not money, because I know people who had money and not much education, and their wealth disappeared financially. I worked with a number of athletes. I know one athlete here in Chicago um, who played professional basketball, and he made $110 million, and he ended up in bankruptcy. He bought his mom a house for $2 million, and it was foreclosed on. He bought his mom a Range Rover, and it was repossessed one Christmas Eve. You know, 110 million. You know, I don't think I'll ever make that much in my lifetime. But the point of the matter is because he did go to school and he was an athlete. But unfortunately, some of these athletes are, as they say, they're the stars, and they end up with what I call social promotion. In other words, they kind of like keep them, you know, the minimum is a C to be qualified to participate in NCAA requirements. And sometimes there's some fudging that takes place, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So finally, at the last paragraph of that, it says still other experts contend that individuals who live in lower class communities are exposed throughout life to a different set of values, and those values view the commission of crime. I don't know about that statement because they try to say that it becomes a way of life. So and that is possible because I have seen and I represented people as a lawyer starting in '78, but I started working with lawyers and going to court and seeing individuals when I was in my 20s, early 20s, when I was in programs where I worked with lawyers and would go to prisons and jails where individuals would commit crimes and then their children coming after them would commit crimes and then their children's children. I started representing individuals in 1978, and by the time I reached retirement, fully in 2000, I'm aware of people who had children and children's children who were committing crime. So that goes in that. So anyway, recent scholars, it says, now believe that criminal behavior is best defined by vertical integration, means that crime and antisocial behavior runs like a ladder, beginning with the physics, going increasing from higher from biology to psychology to sociology. So anyway, you get it. So that's some stuff to help you with your assignment, and then there's some more further information here. Okay, we got about 8 more minutes. So let's talk about now the rational choice and routine activity theory. So the rational choice theory, as it says, states that people make deliberate calculations in order to achieve their goals and their own best interests. I could say amen to that because I decided that when I was 14 years old, based on what I had gone through in my childhood, that I would become a lawyer. 14 years later, I did it, and I had a very successful career. I had bumps in the road, but this rational choice theory pretty much describes me. It presumes that all humans, criminal or non-criminal, make decisions based on the benefits outweighing the risk. Well, my benefits, it was better for me to study and work hard than to try to cheat my way through. The theory explains that criminals make a conscious decision to commit crime only when they believe that the benefits of committing the crime outweigh the risk of the consequences, such as possibly a slap on the wrist, those kind of things. And so that's what we're talking about. The rational choice theory originated in the 1800s with, there we go again, Beccaria, and has been expanded to deal with routine activities. So when we understand that criminals make the choice to commit crime, it is then up to the justice system to give them punishments that are fast, and the risk of getting caught outweigh any benefit from committing the crime. As it says here, for example, it is a well-known fact that homes with burglar alarms, barking dogs, and outside property lights are less likely to be broken into those without them. The reason for this is that burglars see these items as being increasing the risk. So that's that. So in other words, if you walk around hanging out, walking down the street counting money in your hands, and you got hundreds or tens or whatever, you're counting money, you possibly could be opening yourself up for a bad situation. My wife's cousin just got a 2020 car, a Nissan, and she lives in Chicago. And Chicago right now has undergone the highest number of carjackings ever. And so she came out to the house yesterday, and my wife and I saw the car. It was a nice car. And so then she left to go home. Well, she called my wife on the phone and said that she was being followed. And I told her what to do. But here's my point. It's because of the fact that you got some people who see an opportunity, and they saw her as a female in the car, and they saw a male, which a lot of times, I mean, it used to be that mattered. Doesn't matter anymore. So anyway, I told her there was a spotter, possibly, and not to go to her house. And actually, I told her to drive to the police station, but she didn't. She drove around long enough, but if she had gone to the police station, then that person would have disappeared. My point being is this, is that I'm gonna take my car. I got a nice car. My wife, I bought her a 2019 and 2019 Mercedes. I said, no, I'm not taking that in the city. And these kind of things are happening. So individuals will take your stuff. So anyway, the routine activity theory, as they say, rat crime rate. And where does rat come from? Routine activity theory. Okay. Somebody automatically says, oh, what rats have to do with this? It's routine activity theory. And so the motivated offenders at the top, the absence of a capable guardian and suitable target. Now, it almost fits what I just got through describing a few minutes ago. So it says one of the questions about the routine activity theory is that is an idea that criminal opportunities do not occur evenly, but are limited to number of targets that are viewed by offenders. And I was giving you some example of that when I just gave the illustration about my wife's cousin. So these individuals are plentiful. They're all over the place. And then in tough economic times like now, they're definitely out there. And I'm not going to go into all of this. Rational choice theory, again, intersects with the routine theory because criminals focus on the opportunity to commit crime and those structured to a social environment, such as where people hang out and congregate, the absence of security. We talked about that a few minutes ago with alarms, dogs, and so forth. Stuff like that. They don't, why burglars generally wear black. And the reason they generally wear black is because originally, if you remember from the criminal law class, that burglary was a crime that was committed in the nighttime. But then we changed the nighttime to 24/7. But the purpose is that when you wore black, you could routinely blend in and not be seen as easy or identified. Okay, you wear a pink burglary outfit because you could easily be picked out. So here you had a pink burglary outfit on and that kind of thing. So, and then you can take a look at some of these things. Notice this one here about the Lawrence Cohen and Marcus Felon and the three elements of crime. And look at what happened with this. Look at this. I want to read this to you. It says, for example, a serial killer carefully considers their routines. Gary Ridgway focused his efforts on prostitutes. You remember Jeffrey Dahmer? Do you remember that name? Yeah, you're from Wisconsin too, aren't you? Yeah, so I know you definitely know about Jeffrey Dahmer. So he focused on people who would not be missed, people, prostitutes, people who were had all other kind of problems, and he picked them up from the areas. And it says, in this respect, we see that routines of these murdered people predisposed to become victims, and talk about. So anyway, the bottom line is they know who to go after. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Remember, it says, for a crime to occur, three things must happen. There must be an offender, a target, suitable target, and lack of security, a guardian security. Not like guardian watching over you, but something that protects you. All right. All right, so the last thing, that's very quickly, we're going to spend a couple minutes because we're over. We've looked at the theories of crime. And so for crime control, we use things like lights and cameras and videos. We use dogs. We used all kinds of ways. As it says, a deterrent theory was developed with a three-tier approach to criminal behavior: certainty, severity, and severity. Certainty refers to the likelihood that the person will be caught. Severity, the speed in which punishment is imposed, and severity is the amount of wrath or the harsh sentences and things like that. And so, you know, I told you I'm a proponent of individuals being sentenced commensurate with the crime, but there are too many times where individuals are not sentenced too long, and then or either it's determined that they really weren't guilty and they become criminals. Okay, and so you can take a look at this yourself. So we have pretty good ideas about the topic of the week. Any questions? Okay. All right. So it's 9:33. I'm going to give you a key phrase. And the key phrase I'm going to give you involves one of our theories, one of our two theories. Which one do you think I'm going to give you? Yep, that's it. Very good. Positives, fist. And make sure you spell it right so you can get your points. It's in the module, and you should be able to do that. I think that our general discussion today has helped in terms of being able to help you get an understanding about the assignment that you have. And if you go back over this material again, it'll help you. But then don't just, you know, what I don't want you guys to do is cite the material from the module. Do some research on the topic, and you'll be able to use sources. And our library and learning center has plenty of that type of stuff. So positivist is the word that will get you your points. All right. Uh, anything else? Or you all good? Okay. Well, again, stay safe out there. The virus is still out there, but now we got knuckleheads running around. I'm not talking about the people with masks, without masks and all that. I'm talking about people that are running around talking about the capitals and things like that. So, are you anywhere near Madison? 2 hours away. So that's within the realm of danger, because you know they're going to be hitting every capital in the country, uh, and armed. Did you hear me? Not people. You know what? That's why I have an issue with guns. It's because you got knuckleheads who get these guns, and then I really don't get it about these semi-automatic and automatic weapons that people can buy. I don't care, you know. I'm not a, you know. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you live in Green Bay, yeah. I have questionable issues with Green Bay. It's called the Packers. Yeah, I'm a Bear fan, but I got a friend who's from here, a young man who, uh, um, um, Ryan Lancaster. Um, he actually graduated from school here, and he plays for the Packers. He's a defensive player. He's either 94 or 96, and he also went to Northwestern University. So I will I will show you Here we are. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Ryan Lancaster. Okay, I'm going to put this picture up there. See if you can. You see him? Can you see it? Yeah, that's Ryan. And this is me with him. And this is when he got not drafted. He was a walk-on a couple of years ago. And so now he ends up playing with him. And he said, "You want to wear a Packers hat?" I said, "No more than I'll wear a Cubs hat because I'm a Sox fan." And he started laughing. But yeah, so I'm kind of you know pulling for him. So I got the Chiefs though. I like the Chiefs. So anyway, Bears are out, and they rightfully should. So they backed their butts into the playoffs in the first place. It's like it's like, it's like somebody lost and they lost and they backed. It's like they were backing out, and then they said backed over the line and says, "You are now in the playoffs." I watched the game. I recorded it, but I deleted it as soon as I recorded it. So, okay, Kara. Okay, you got a pretty decent quarterback. Yeah, Brett Favre. Oh no, I forgot it. It's not Brett Favre anymore. What's the dude's name? I've been gone for years, right? What he does those, what's your quarterback's name? I know his name and I can't think of it. I guess I have a block on it. What is it? What's his name? What's the quarterback? Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. Yeah, he's the one that those funniest State Farm commercials. You see him thinking he's getting the Rogers rate. You've seen him, right? Those State Farm commercials. Yeah, yeah. You think he's getting the Rogers rate. The one I like though is when he used to do them with Patrick Mahomes together. But yeah, he's funny. He's funny. I have respect for him. He's a good good quarterback. It's just you know it's time to retire. Okay. All right. I'm gonna say good night. Get off of my Packer bandwagon. I'll see you next week. Again, stay safe and be careful out there as well. And get those assignments in. And again, any questions you have, you guys know how to reach me. Good night.